Freedom can come to Iran only when the Iranian street takes charge. And that's the subject of tonight's riff. In a response to the Atlantic magazine, President Trump framed the issue of the Israel-Iranian war pitch perfect, I thought. Let me quote. Well, considering that I'm the one that developed America first, and considering that the term wasn't used until I came along, I think I'm the one that decides that. For those people who say they want peace, you can't have peace if Iran has a nuclear weapon. So for all those wonderful people who don't want to do anything about Iran having a nuclear weapon, that's not peace, end quote. So hopefully our friendlies at podcasts and their ilk will think seriously about what the president is saying, and the MAGA crowd will acknowledge his logic. Sounds very much like Mr. Trump understands that Israel's Operation Rising Lion is a gift to America and to freedom and to civilized people everywhere, and that includes the people of Iran. And of course, Israel must fight for its own self-existence. Freedom is a crucial thought here. It is a universal principle that the Iranian mullahs know nothing about. Successive U.S. administrations have never publicly acknowledged it. But the fact is, Iran declared war on America many years ago, and their nuclear bomb development, along with longer-range ballistic missiles, will have our East Coast in sight a lot sooner than many folks may think. But the key point is, at least I believe that President Trump is playing his cards exactly right. Israel started the war, we didn't. But the U.S. is helping them defensively against Iran's fusillade of missiles aimed at Israel's civilian areas, as it should. Israel is our ally. President Trump has not asked Israel to pause airstrikes into Iran. He has said, and I'll quote, "We're on the same page with Netanyahu on Iran. We get along very well." When asked if the U.S. will continue to support Israel in its defense, Mr. Trump replied, and I quote, "We do. Yes." End quote. Also, he told ABC News that it's possible the U.S. would become involved in the Israel-Iran conflict. Let me quote here, it's important. "We're not involved in it, but it's possible we could get involved. But we are not at this moment involved." That's an end quote. And then additionally, as Peter Doocy reported, a White House official telling Fox News that President Trump at the G7 meeting in Calgary will not sign a joint statement that is expected to call for Israel and Iran to de-escalate. Now, right up until Israel lowered the boom on Iran, Mr. Trump and his emissaries sought a peaceful deal. And fittingly, the president continues to talk publicly about a deal. That's fine. The point is, Iran could never be trusted. If there were a deal, it would be a fake deal, where the mullahs would simply try to buy time to regroup their defenses and expand their nuclearization. And we know this because we know the whole history of dealing with Iran. There had never been any suggestion that Iran would verifiably stop enriching uranium for their bomb making, ever. In all likelihood, the only point at which Iran could be believed would be that point when Khamenei and the mullahocracy and its theocratic dictatorship is overturned by a secular government. And Newt Gingrich's going to be here in just a moment to talk more about that. In other words, free Iran with regime change. Now, Prime Minister Netanyahu has reached out to the people of Iran saying the day of your liberation is near. This, of course, would have to be a homegrown resolution. I am not advocating any Americans' nation building. Freedom will come to Iran when the Iranian street overturns the mullahs. Now, all that said, I do agree with the Wall Street Journal editorial board that the U.S. should help Israel with deep penetrating bombs and the heavy bombers to deliver. That would deal with the Fordo nuclear site buried deep under a mountain and would probably be helpful to totally degrade Natanz and Isfahan as well. Israel has degraded Iran's defenses and taken out their military and scientific leaders. There's traffic jams leaving Tehran as Iranians are fleeing. But if the mullahs somehow remain in power with some kind of unenforceable or unverifiable deal, but Fordo or other nuclear sites still exist, then the Israeli victory would come to naught, and we'll wind up repeating the whole sorry episode a year or two later. That would be awful. And that's the risk.